Hello, it is Thursday, August 24th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Thursday crossword today, which means we are going to be solving something with some kind of interesting theme, and I see some, a symbol indicating rotation or something like that in the grid. I'm curious to find out what this is. And this rotational edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by David Innes, Josh Lucas, Alex, and, as always, the indomitable Shoalmaster and the incredible Horan family. So thank you so much to the five of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support. They are keeping this channel going with that support, and I'm very grateful to them for those contributions. If you'd like to contribute in that way, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the link in the description field underneath the video, and there, of course, you can find the bonus videos available to patrons of this channel, and also for benefactors, the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug. So with that said, thank you so much to everybody who is a patron, and thank you, of course, to everybody who has subscribed to the YouTube channel. That's a big help as well. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. And finally, you can join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. That is a nice, friendly, free chat community whose link is in the description field. So let's get on to the crossword. I'm getting a bit of a late start today, so I'm trying to move on rapidly. This is the second crossword from Robin Yu, so well done to him making his return to the New York Times crossword. And it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. It's a Thursday puzzle, so we do see evidence of an interesting theme, and let's start solving. Right, okay, so we have four of these, as we might have expected. They're symmetrically disposed. So I wonder, I don't know. I mean, if I had to immediately guess, maybe answer 2 goes down and then continues this way. I don't know. But let's find. Oh, wait. Sorry. I just noticed. Oh, maybe it is that because, sorry, I wasn't intending to start talking about this immediately, but it's what happened. So we have a dash in the 20 across answer. Now, a dash generally, sometimes you get a thing where the dash actually just means dash, D-A-S-H. It usually doesn't. Usually what it means is this answer is not clued because effectively the clue comes from another answer, usually as part of the theme of the crossword. And the clue comes from another clue, I should say. So it could be the case that 20 across is simply a continuation of 2 down. And in fact, I suspect it is, because suddenly fell through as a plan looks like it would take more than 4 letters to spell out. But we'll get there eventually. Anyway, blown away. Odd, maybe? I don't know. Let's see if that works. Poet Laureate Limon. Ooh, I'm not sure offhand. Right, okay, so here we are back to this. Suddenly fell through as a plant. Went. Style of Renee Lalique's glasswork. Oh, I don't know. I want to see if I can confirm or deny this. Went. Unidentified. Informally. Anon? That would be an informal way to say anonymous, which could mean unidentified. So went. Now, I think the point here about this circular arrow is that the T is repeated. It's not as though this just takes a turn and then we continue on. I think what this means is we need to loop back around and use the T again. So it's went to, maybe? That doesn't make this look very likely, though. Green booking. Oh, eco something. Eco tour was an answer in a recent Times cryptic crossword, but that wouldn't fit here. Green booking. The Times in that case being the Times of London, sorry, as it's called in the US. Fait accompli. A done deal. So in French, I mean, this essentially literally means an accomplished thing or fact or doing. So a done deal in English. Oh, Deco, art. This must be Art Deco glasswork. Okay, fair enough. And then here we have Ada Limon. All right. So what can I do to try and figure this? I really want to figure this out. Tribute of a sort. An ode, the official poetic form of the New York Times crossword, of course. It's an ode. Something that's designed to be buggy. Designed to be buggy. A web? Maybe this is so green booking, eco hotel? You could book an eco hotel. I've never heard that phrase before, but it sounds like it might be the answer. Green booking. You book an eco hotel. I'm just going to see if I can confirm that. Figure in a house listing area, maybe the literal area of the flooring of the interior area of the home. Blacken, to tar someone's name, maybe to kind of mar their name, blacken it, smear it. Alternative to paper or plastic. A tote bag could be an alternative to those things. Paper bag or plastic bag, an alternative. Spanish gold. Oh, right. I think it's oro. I've said this before. I always forget if gold in Spanish is masculine or feminine. I think it's oro. Is it aura? Temporary controlled power shutdown. Or no, it's this. Or a hint to reading 4 of this puzzle's answers. A rolling blackout. Right. So what does that mean? Does that mean we have to incorporate rolling blackout? Do we put the word black in here or something? Went black. No, I'm trying to figure out what the blackout bit means. Is it just that these are black cells? That feels insufficient. Oh, this does look like a web, though, doesn't it? Something that's designed to be buggy. So a spider designs a web to be filled with bugs, I suppose, ultimately. Blackout. I want this to be sort of went down the... Why can I not think what this is? Suddenly fell through as a plan. The plan suddenly fell through. The plan went out the window? Oh, so the out is the bit we put in here. I thought it was saying black out as in you take out the word black from the phrase. But no, I think it's that the word out is the bit that we put into these cells, into these rolling cells. So went out, the plans went out the window. Okay, that is a phrase people say. All right, finally got it. French military cap. Oh, what is this? A tati or teti or something? Kepi, K-E-P-I, French military cap. I think took me a moment there of sorting through my brain, but I think that's it. Black Widow's former organization. I think there's a superhero character, Black Widow. Former organization, I don't know. Fair hiring initials. Equal employment opportunity, or I always forget, once again, speaking of things I forget, I always forget if this is equal employment opportunity or equal opportunity employer. I think it's this one. Like suspicious eyes. No, it's the other one. Equal opportunity employment or employer, I suppose. So beady eyes. Oh, KGB. Was she a former KGB officer or something? So flipping out. If you're flipping out, you're going gaga. There we go. House of Reps, right? So you'd think, maybe at a glance, you think this is referring to the U.S. House of Representatives, the legislative body, but no, reps is not capitalized. It's not referring to that. It's referring to doing reps of a particular exercise at the gym. Awards show recognition informally, a nom for a nomination, award nomination. Key worker, a piano tuner, someone who works on tuning keys of a piano. To openly proclaim something is to avow it. Off-roaders for short are ATVs, all-terrain vehicles, can be taken off-road. One in a onesie, could be a tot, so a onesie, little sort of one-piece garment that a child wears, young child. Campaign to increase election day participation. Voter outreach. There we go. Oh, that's so helpful now that we actually have this. Because we know we can put the word out into all of these phrases, which certainly helps. So Twitch streamer with a digital avatar, say. Trying to think what this digital avatar means. I mean, I feel as though avatars are used in basically every online service, just a little picture that reflects you, that, or that either literally is you or that you're choosing for symbolic reasons, I guess. VTuber, I think I've seen that phrase before. Not actually sure what it means, but I would have assumed it had something to do with YouTube because of the tube bit. I don't know, that might not be the answer. One might show one's age informally. Right now, when I'm solving this crossword and I don't know what this is, is the answer to that. When one might show one's age informally. If this were a B, does that help? Why do I not see what that is? B-Day, birthday. Oh, goodness, of course. That's ridiculously obvious. Parody. A send-up is a parody. Bartender's stock, rye whiskey, rise. 7 blank, worst hand in Texas Hold'em. 7 deuce. Okay, I didn't know that was, unsurprisingly, based on those of you who have seen me talk about poker before, I didn't know that was the worst hand, but there we go. So this does look like VTuber, doesn't it? So what does that mean exactly? Let's find out. Someone will tell me. Shape shifts, morphs into some other form. Je pense, donc, I guess je suis. I don't know that I've seen this in its original French, sort of slightly embarrassingly, Descartes. So I think, therefore I am. And donc is a word in French that means essentially thus or therefore. Although it's used in very casual French speech as well. No, didn't Descartes originally formulate this in Latin? So maybe this is just, I wonder if there is an official French language formulation of this by Descartes, or if this is just a common one. Anyway, donc, in English, therefore, is often used somewhat formally, but in French, donc is sprinkled. It's kind of one of those words that gets sprinkled kind of all over the place, almost as a filler word in French. But it also does mean thus or therefore. Anyway, I think therefore I am. 2016 title role for Auli'i Cravalho. Moana. This must have been the actor who portrayed the character Moana in that film, which I saw and really enjoyed. Exactamundo. Bang on, you're exactly right. Doubleday, who didn't really invent baseball. Well, I didn't know that this person ever purportedly did invent baseball, so this fact is not any kind of corrective for me. But I'm assuming Abner. I mean, I'm assuming that simply because I can't think of any other names that would fit here. Is Doubleday, is that a brand? I'm wondering why this would be significant that this person didn't really invent baseball. There must be something that must be a common belief, or that name must have some association with baseball. Anyway, Jimmy Carter's Secret Service code name, right? So each president gets a unique Secret Service code name. I don't particularly know them of the various presidents, but what do I think this is? The first word that comes to mind is weapon, which I very much doubt would be a code name. It's a bit odd, so I don't think it's the answer. Pioneer in color TV broadcasting, NBC, I guess, the U.S. TV network. Beacon, maybe? That would sound more like a code name. To see the world would be to globetrot. There we go. I bet this is Beacon. Named in brief. Is it IBID as used in kind of citations in, bibliography or referencing sources? Maybe, let's see. Pale in comparison. I don't know. I don't know. Named in brief. Not sure. ID. Oh, Deacon, maybe it is. Deacon, not Beacon. Okay. ID'd as in identified. There we go. Okay, I was thinking that didn't quite make sense. And it didn't. Pale in comparison. So something more pale. Pale in comparison to someone else. Lighter, whiter, maybe? I'm trying to think of other words that could fit in 4 letters here, and I'm not thinking of many. Most of them are 3 or 5. Ashier? I don't know. Nile reptiles, asps associated with that region of the world. So this is, maybe it is Ashier. That's funny. Let's see if that works. Carried away by the tide, swept out to sea. Boy, it's unbelievable how helpful that out is. Foil, e.g., a sword, so a fencing sword, a foil. Drag race conveyance, so drag race is, sort of a straight line race. A hot rod, I guess? That sounds right. Sort of souped up car. Organization opposed to speciesism. That sounds like it would be associated with PETA, the people, what is it? People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, I think, yeah. All right, poker call. I raise your or bet, I guess. And then rugged dirt track racers are sprinters or something. Yeah, not sure what that is. What about this? Certain sodas for short. And then this is having just dropped. So dropped in the kind of modern language means to have released, an album or something. So if it's having just dropped, it's new. Certain sodas for short. Oh, Mountain Dews, I guess. So dews. And then GPS figures are estimated times of arrival, I suppose. You could have a GPS system plan your route and tell you how long you have to get there. Rugged dirt track racers are sprint. I'm not quite sure what this is. It probably ends with an S. Sprint cars? Is that what this is referring to? I don't know the concept of a sprint car, but I could believe that such a thing exists. Let's see. Blank Theaters with T capitalized, suggesting this is a brand name. So it could be AMC Theaters, which is a cinema chain. Very quick point. A very quick point. An ace. So in tennis, you could score an ace, a very quick point, because the serve is not returned. They might be checked at a restaurant. You could have your coat checked and put in a cloakroom. A number one could be top of a league table or something. Game with a rhyming name. How do we rhyme in such a short name? That's interesting. Spot that's hardly spotless. So a sty, often used to refer to a very dirty place. Oh, I spy. All right, there you go. Okay. What is this? You say, I spy with my little eye, I think. In German, you say the equivalent of, I think it's like, I see something that you can't see. It's something like that. Okay, activities that relieve psychological stress are, I don't know. Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot about this bit. So it's something like emotional outlets. There we go. Very good. It's just incredible how helpful that is. It just you can. I mean, it requires familiarity with English idioms, obviously, but if you have it, you can sort of jump right to it once you remembered to put out in there, which I didn't initially. Event for a unicorn, perhaps in brief. So unicorn is a phrase. Sort of a relatively recently created phrase within the last couple decades anyway, that refers to, what is it? Is it a company that's worth, I think it's a company that's valued at $1 billion or more. Often that doesn't end up holding true once they actually get taken public in an initial public offering, an IPO, and then their value has to be assessed by public markets. But anyway, that's what that means. Liqueur and some coffee cocktails familiarly. Bailey's, liqueur. It's associated with various things like Irish coffees, I think, and so on. Caffeine-containing ingredients once used in soft drinks. Cola nuts. Yep, there we go. Theater section for Stadler and Waldorf on The Muppet Show. Right, so they're the two cantankerous old men who are constantly criticizing everything they see, and they would be in what? They'd be in a box. They'd be in an opera box maybe. Yeah, they're always up in box seats. Extremely informally could be Uber. Someone took issue recently with Uber recently being clued, meaning something in Österreich, so meaning that in Austria, but it was missing the diacritical mark over the U, and this person took issue saying, well, there's a different letter effectively in German, and so it wouldn't have its German meaning without that mark, which I think is both a fair point, it's both fair and accurately true, but also I think we have to accept the limitations of the crossword grid in English, because we also do things like if you have a contraction, for instance, if you have a word that says, if you have cannot contracted to can't, C-A-N-T without an apostrophe doesn't actually mean cannot in English. I mean, it literally is a different actual word with its own meaning. But I don't think very many people would take issue with that, not because it's correct per se, but because it's understood to be the most appropriate compromise in order to reflect the word. And I understand that might not be precisely the same thing, but I think it's close enough to allow me to accept the lack of a diacritical mark. Anyway, in this case, we've sidestepped the issue because we're only using it as a loanword into English, and there's no reference in the clue to its meaning in German or a German-speaking country. So we can simply use Uber in the way that it's used in English as a loanword. All right, crew directive. Row, so you could be, so rowing is often referred to as crew, the sport, as a sport, and then directive could be to row. So in toto does mean completely, so there we go. And then annual multimedia festival, informally, SXSW for South by Southwest, which is a music and film and interactive media thing, festival in Texas, to which I have never been. And now we can finish the crossword with two more cells. So an about face is a UE, a U-turn, which does occasionally pop up in the New York Times crossword. I think it also shows up occasionally as UIE, maybe? No, maybe not. I can't quite remember. I think there's at least one other spelling of it that shows up. And then finally, a news stand. So in this case, stand means in the sense of taking a stand, holding an opinion, or I guess more accurately, communicating that opinion. So an op-ed would be an opinion piece in a newspaper, and then gridiron stats. So this is referring to gridiron football, and those stats could be touchdowns, TDs. So hopefully this is correct. There it is. That was the New York Times crossword for Thursday. And a nice, one of these themes that is sort of wacky in the sense that it's got extra iconography in the grid and you have to figure out what's going on. But once you do, it really, really does help solve the puzzle. So we had a rolling blackout, which resulted in inserting out into these sort of rolling circular black shapes, I guess. And we ended up with went out the window, voter outreach, swept out to sea, and finally emotional outlets. And it looks like, yes, it is the case that each entry does contain valid words. So I don't know if that was an important element of the theme, but it is the case in the final grid that we don't have any sort of nonsense fill as a result of removing out from these phrases. And it's a good example of this dash being used to indicate a sort of clue that is unnecessary because it already exists by virtue of another clue. And there we have it. And a nice central revealer. I always enjoy. I kind of enjoy when the revealer isn't in its traditional position of down off in the southeast corner of the grid, but I like when it takes pride of place right here in the center, especially when it fills the whole grid. It makes the whole puzzle feel of a piece. And anyway, that was our revealer, which is the bit that, as it says exactly here, is a hint to reading 4 of this puzzle's answers. In this case, there are 4 theme answers. And that was that. As I said earlier, I was getting a bit of a late start today, so I don't think I have time for the clues from yesterday's puzzle. I will try and get back to that tomorrow. That should be fine tomorrow. And anyway, that's that for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an excellent remainder of your Thursday. Take care.